Get you a plaque. All right. You tell when you're ready, Mark.
It is going and it's 5 o'clock in there, so I think.
All right, we will call the Munster Board of Parks and Recreation meeting to order for September 17th. We have a quorum, so the first item here is public comment. Anybody wishing to come speak? This person back in the room has to go first. It's just a joke. All right, seeing no public comment, we'll move on to administrative matters, approval of the park board minutes for August 20th.
Motion to approve August 20th minutes.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor saying aye. Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Next item is the approval of the park vouchers. We have 4 of them. Anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Everything looked good to me.
All right, everything looks good, so that's sort of a motion.
Motion to approve the vouchers. All
A second.
Motion's been made, seconded. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to the reports, September board reports, Mr. Mark.
Yes, we have a number of things here to cover. We had a meeting out at Heritage Park with a lot of different volunteer groups out that are involved with doing various work out there, including the Historical Society, Garden Club, Friend of the Monarchs Group, the Lake County Master Gardeners. Making sure that when they do work out there, that what they do, a different group doesn't change. Or pull out or ruin. So we, long term, I think we've got some of the immediate stuff hammered out. I think long term, it is one that we probably should do a little bit of a landscape master plan that they can all go off of. That way, when we have groups approach us, maybe it's those groups or scout groups, that, we can kind of use that as a guide to help steer folks. So that's gonna be something we're gonna, I'm gonna try and ask, I think Catherine at HWC would be a perfect person to be able to do that, but, have a consultant come in and do that if you think that would be worthwhile. I do see it is a park that we probably get the most volunteerism at. And I think it'd be a wise investment for us, in the long run. So that's something we'll be, putting together and trying to bring to you at a future meeting. Pro Shop project, progress continues out there. The biggest things we were waiting on was NIPSCO. We finally got not to exceed dates for install of the gas line for September 18th and electric for September 26th. Gas is gonna be exceeding that because they've already been there on site twice, including today. They ran into an issue where the gas line that they were going to tap is much deeper than they wanted and underneath some either concrete or asphalt of some sort. So they're coming back with another plan. Hopefully they'll be back on site in the next week or two. So we're kind of at their whim right now to get that part completed. Everything else continues to make progress. They were out paving today, some of the pathways around the between the 2 buildings and up above at the top there. So also keeping in mind that once Passey's done with their work as the general contractor, we as the town have a lot of different responsibilities that are separate from that, which is our landscaping, irrigation, our fiber optics, networking, equipment, cabling, moving golf operations over, and having will also coordinate their IT issues for out there as well. So we're moving along. We'll see when everything gets done. We're already slowly getting into the fall, so we probably will move in before, my anticipation is we'll get moved in this fall, probably look for a springtime grand opening / really fast one. When it's weather will be a lot nicer, when we want to encourage people to be out on the course as much as possible. The methane collection system staff, Kevin and his group have been working with some of the contractors with Cabino Environmental mainly to get improvements to that methane collection system that's out on the landfill. That's there's certain areas of the landfill right now that don't have full vacuum, either broken cables from ground movement, full of water seeping in. So they're correcting, trying to get those things improved along with Kevin and his staff that are out there at times doing that. Playground updates. We've been trying to hear some updated playground proposal for both Briar Creek and Cobblestones. I have a couple already. I'm not real happy with them, going back and forth with them. I'm trying to have some smaller updates to them. I did have a request from a neighbor out at Briar Creek Park that we report a poured in place on these playgrounds. So that's something I've asked the playground manufacturers to get as an alternate to us. So when I can bring them to you, you can see the whole package as an option. Either if we do this, which is with the engineered wood fiber as a safety surfacing, or with the poured in place type of surfacing. Typically, the poured in place is as much as the equipment on the playground. So that's
That's expensive.
typically why we haven't gone that route very often, but, it's something that, she was very adamant about not us, having us not use, chemicals and weed control, which is something that was really sensitive of an area that, so we're gonna look into it and see, and, once we have those, we'll be bringing those to you. Master plan did get approved. We got the letter from the Indiana DNR. There's a copy of that in this report. So that makes us grant eligible if we see anything through the DNR that they have out there, but it did meet that. So, and that's, plan has also had been updated and posted on the town's website. The disc golf course has a request, or the disc golf course, we have the Red Rock Disc Golf Club that's kind of based here in Munster. Brian Cummings, as many of you might know. Locally, a lot of volunteer group out there that does a lot of work out there. They sent a request letter to us for various different things. They would love to have a washroom out there. Unfortunately, most of, as you're well aware, I think Daniel especially, most of that golf course is within the levee of the Little Calumet River. We can't put any permanent structures out there, so that really doesn't, limits what we can do out there. They would also love to see some kind of storage. We're gonna look at some other options and talk about maybe containerized units for where they could put wheelbarrows and shovels and rakes that they do use from time to time out there. They would also love to put a shelter up for when they have tournaments, but again, anything that's permanent has to be outside of the levee, which majority of the park, I would say probably 98% of the park is within the levee. So, but we'll work with them. West Lakes Park, we're gonna meet with, some cricket representatives and Councilor Peterson about, the need for restrooms and storage room out there. That's something that has been brought up. Actually, it just got brought up again with some of the soccer folks again as well. You're familiar with the vandalism we had out there. I know we had the grand plan of putting a washroom facility out there in the current master plan. It was previously stubbed in out there, so that's something that, again, we can work towards eventually getting to that point where we can build a facility out there. The Cobblestones Park court removal, we'll talk about that. I threw that on the agenda for you. We just got that as a option for us, but we'll talk about that later in the meeting. On the recreation side of things, the fall recreation guide is out. The superintendent attended a Munster Civic Foundation regarding 2025 sponsorship. That's where they helped us out with a lot of our concerts. So the indication is they'll be doing that stuff again, including the Northwest Indiana Symphony. Recreation staff attended a Light the Night meeting. That'll be held on Thursday, December the, I think it is, the first Thursday in December, here at Town Hall again. So we'll be helping out and doing some games and some other activities as part of that event that the chamber is also involved with, as well as the Munster Civic Foundation. Fall soccer game started up this past Saturday. We have 34 teams in the 4-H groups with almost 70 volunteer coaches. The Cash for Clutter was also this past Saturday with 91 vendors, so that was another sellout for us at that particular event. It has been for the last spring and fall for the last 3 years. On the maintenance side of things, flagstone edging was completed in front of the Caskey House around at Heritage Park. The porch was also pressure washed there and clear coated. The shrub beds at the Monon Trailhead Park were cleaned up and mulched. A broken swing was replaced out at Beach Park. 2 irrigation valves were replaced at both the softball fields and the roof fields. Staff met with Kevin Penning about the replacing wood and repainting the pergola at the Monon Trailhead. That's something that we have committed to them to complete for us. They also are doing some staining of wood on the stage itself, and once that gets completed, we'll be looking to try to get that wrapped in aluminum by Corellis, because it's exposed wood and there is rotting already happening out there. Maintenance over at Centennial, new concession equipment has been ordered for the pro shop. Multiple irrigation, breaks were repaired by our staff, and we brought Thomas Irrigation in to help with the, irrigation in the line, in the area where the new buildings are being built. A damaged slide was removed at Centennial Park. We've ordered a replacement for it, but right now, if you go out there, you'll see a wooden panel, so no one, kids don't fall off in the, where the slide used to be. We had some replacement, swing parts as well that had to go in, so that's something that we're looking at. Several of the handrail boards on the bridge over on the Trestle Bridge on the Pennsy were also replaced, so that's something else that, as that wood goes, it definitely needs to be replaced. Out at the golf course, you see the member rounds are pretty much on average with where they were about a year ago. Green fees were up slightly this year, over last year. The challenge out at the golf course is lack of rain. I think we're all feeling that in all our parks and probably our own yards. Since August 19th, we've had less than a half inch of rain.
I'm okay with no rain.
The aeration of the tees and fairways will begin next week. And, Dan and his crew, the area that was excavated between the new cart storage barn and the driving range tee boxes, they're gonna handle that reseeding to make sure it matches with our tee boxes that we have over there. They do have an air compressor lined up for to be blowing out the irrigation system here in October already, so. Probably another area that I want to throw out or something for you to be thinking about, is the idea of scheduling maybe a work study session to really talk about where, now that the master plan has been completed, about these capital plans that we'd like to see and which ones are we gonna try to attack first. I think there's a lot of them out there, and maybe we really need to hone in on what we can kind of concentrate. I mean, I know we've talked about, the north side of Centennial, the Centennial Clubhouse area, the community, the south end of Community Park, including the tennis courts. The idea of the rec center that's been out there, this West Lakes washroom, idea of turfing of the ball fields. So I think that there's a lot of those things that are out there. I think it'd probably be best if we concentrated on that in the near future. So if you agree with that, I can circulate dates and try to find a time that.
And just to add to your agenda, the age of equipment, you need to put that on that work study as well, because there's several parks that have really aged out as far as equipment. So just, that's on the repair and replacement schedule that you set out. And some of them are past due, so we want to make sure that you're.
Right. Yep.
That are updated.
And depending on where you feel about the cobblestone stuff, that can be something that we discuss that as well too. But that's it for the report.
Any questions of Mark?
Just one quick question on you mentioned the playground. What's stuff on the ground? Surfacing the playground for all the different parks. Some of them, just got a couple of emails about when is there weed stuff that we put down? I guess some of the parks are now having weeds come up through some of that.
There's always weeds. I mean, in the playgrounds. I mean, they're not as prevalent right now. We typically do spray. I mean, so to keep it down, it's worse right now in Briar Creek and Cobblestones because the anticipation was we were gonna get all new playgrounds, which would get all new surfacing.
Yeah.
So when we supplemented all the other playgrounds this summer, we didn't do those. So unfortunately, that's 15 years worth of that mulch material breaking down,
Yeah.
which becomes perfect planting time for that. But that concern's been brought to us as well and shared with us. They want us to not use any chemicals.
Yeah, playgrounds.
That's a challenge. I mean, that's a decision. I mean, if you guys as the board collectively want to give us that direction to do that, I can tell you that every park agency that I've worked for in my career uses sprays at some point of chemical down to control those weeds. Pour in place surfacing helps take care of that. But you'll also hear everything has their pluses and minuses about it. Obviously, the cost is a major one, but there also is there are some other concerns about board in place as well that's out there that I've heard. So,
Mark, have you heard anything further from Babe Ruth about the concession stand and that agreement? Any updates from them?
I have
Just
not, they
curious if
continue
they've
to
been
operate
successful.
it, but I haven't heard anything further since they finished. In fact, we completed, the drainage improvements out there, dugouts. I think I recorded that last month or the month before, but haven't heard anything since that was completed. from us.
Do we have to enter into a new agreement by the first of the year? Wasn't there set to
Um,
expire?
The current concession agreement includes all of next year.
Okay.
So I think that's a question of how we decide to move on, but I think that they're gonna operate it through the end of October. I would expect something probably in November or December.
Okay.
And so,
Sounds good. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mark. Next item, town council liaison. Dave Downs, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing?
We have nothing,
Okay,
no report at this time.
try to build you up there. Next item, pool season, or the 2024 pool season report. Saves,
I'll get there.
okay,
We were open 11 weeks over the summer. We had 68 pool employees, 7 sponsors with a head banners all around the perimeter of the pool. This year we had just over 19,000 guests, which is up 14% from last year, so that is positive. If you see in the financial summary, you do see that we lost some money this year. Due to that, we'll get into the next agenda item in regards to fee increases, but we wanted to kind of note that. And then on the page 2, 61 saves in regards to 76 last year, so that is continuing to go down. The wristband system that Abby has initiated in regards to the blue wristbands on really helps the lifeguards allow them either up the slides to even go on it, or other walking staff to make sure that they are where these kids are supposed to be. Police were only called 1 time this season versus 3 last year. As in previous years, we've always run into the staff shortage at the end of the summer. A lot of the kids are leaving either for college or doing sports, so unfortunately, we have to close prior to Munster schools beginning. We also had 8 birthday parties, 7 groups, and 35 private parties.
but see the calls of the police are down,
Yeah.
reporting in a pool. You wanna go to the full operational recommendations?
Yeah, I can.
All right,
Due to the financial loss this summer at Munster Pool, it's recommended that, these current rates be increased for 2025, which is the season pass rate, the private party rate, and the birthday party rate. They were minimally increased. It's not an outrageous amount. Last time they were increased was 2022, I believe, so a $5 differential between a few years ago to next year, I really don't think will be that big of a deal. If you flip over on the back, we increased daily admission and group rates also by just $1. Again, every little bit helps to help bring in, money so that we're not on the red again next year.
all right. Any questions for Jill? Or if you wanna adopt the recommendations? Or you don't feel like it?
One quick question,
Yeah.
Jeff, sorry. Are you considering increasing sponsorship too, like opportunities in addition to this?
That is not something that we have talked about yet. That normally goes out like January, so we start working on that end of November, but that's definitely something that we can consider.
I agree. I don't think a $5 increase is super significant, but I also think our birthday parties are pretty reasonable, as well as the sponsorship opportunities for what they've received in return, so.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I think that recommendation as we put this together was just a matter of, since there was a fact that we had a loss of, $7,500 or so on the season. We try to operate facilities at a break-even point, so it's not huge increases, but I think it's that recommendation is to at least try to get as close to that break-even point as we can. We think the nominal increases as recommended would, allow us to achieve that. Also anticipating a few expenses next year are gonna go up. We've heard in the paper recently, utilities and things like that, so, if we don't, we're falling further behind there with that.
Anyone want to make a motion to adopt those recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Park shelter use agreement, terms and conditions. Mark.
So this is an updated agreement. I shared a red line version with you, so you can see the changes that we're recommending. This was brought to us mainly, we had a resident, a neighbor out at Cobblestones had an issue with a rental last year. He attended a meeting, didn't speak, but did reach out to Jill and myself, and spoke to him after that time. And it was something that, yeah, we understood that viewpoint, and I think that in reviewing the agreement, we went through and are making some recommendations to you and bringing this to you today for your consideration. But basically, just to highlight them, and you'll see them in red there, we want to define the capacity of a shelter, which really we've never had. We've said the seating, it seats this many people, but we haven't defined this capacity. We don't want someone showing up with 1,000 people at a park that's just nowhere near prepared for that. So I think that's a big one that we really want to encourage. The reservations, should be made by someone 21 and older. I don't think we should be renting out to anyone younger than that. I think that's something that we found across the board in a lot of other communities. We had a small change in the lightning prediction system. Public Works is, looking into other systems, so I don't know if they'll change that, so we just want to remove the brand name of the current one that we have. We want to put in there that no additional tents, tables, chairs are permitted. A lot of our parks have irrigation. We don't want people pounding in stakes without, just randomly posting these things up. That would also increase their, capacity, if you will, potentially, so. Posting of advertisements, signage, and any other product would be prohibited. We don't want someone running business out of a shelter, really showcasing, if it's their own little corporate business, that would also be, I think it's something that we want that to be neighborhood friendly, is what we were kind of really thinking of when we looked at these types of things. The renters wouldn't be able to charge admission or activity fees unless they had permission from you. We wouldn't want someone to say, yeah, come to my party, you're charging me $10 a person. We don't think that should be, something that, but it is something that we've seen happen elsewhere. So it's like, let's put it in there to make sure that we're avoiding those types of situations. Corporate rentals would only be permitted at Centennial Community and White Oak Parks. And why those parks? Those are our biggest. Those shelters all fit at least 100 people, well, 96 on the majority of them. But, so and we're set up for them there. More parking, more, at that more community level parks, so than the local neighborhoods. Music was the big one that the neighbor brought up to us, and, we previously had it in there, but that was a harder one to define. Our recommendation is just that DJ bands and amplified sound are not permitted, period. I think, and the way that I would look at this, and I think if it's being played and it's not a problem, no one's gonna be calling the police. If it's loud enough, police can go right to that and say, you can't have, period. It's not turn the music down and they leave and they turn it right back up.
Yeah.
So I think that clarifies that for us. And especially like at the, there's other activities going on in the park. So we don't want the shelter rental dominating and taking over the activities of that whole site. So those are really the highlighted changes in here. So with that, I bring it to you with your consideration or edits for, to bring it to you for approval.
Can we also put in there to where there's no vulgar language in music that they're playing?
Well, I think at this point, you can't have music here. So that allows it, because that's very, what's the right word I'm looking for?
Subjective.
Subjective, thank you, to who's out there listening to it. What's vulgar? I mean, it's hard. That way, I think this vulgar, there's that can be enforced the way that it's, that's why I'm going to that point of no music.
Just no music, period.
That way we have that control of it, if you will.
Yeah, because that's been in Centennial more than once.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mark? You just adopt it, or you just wanna?
I would ask you to adopt it, because this is something you previously adopted, this user agreement for park shelter use, so if you want to adopt it with the proposed changes, that would be great, and we will implement this moving forward, if that's the case.
We'll adopt the new use and terms and conditions.
I move to adopt new terms and conditions.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded. Any other discussion? See none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. We will move on to change order number 7.
I highlighted this one last month, or kind of prepped you for it, that it was coming. This
Yeah.
is one to add an area to stage the golf carts, after they take them out of the cart barn.
It's very
every morning. So this is an area that would be east of the new shelter. We'll square off that area, which will give us, an area to stage 3 deep, a bunch of carts there. Otherwise, that area between the shelter and the pro shop, it's gonna get really congested with carts staged there and carts going in and out to go get the golf clubs from their cars and driving back, the course. So, this proposed change order adding $50,721.50 to the contract would, pave that additional concrete area, that we're talking about east of the, new shelter that's out there.
Any discussion? Your motion. I'll take anybody at this time. And anybody like to make one.
Motion to approve the change order number 7.
I appreciate it. In the amount of $50,721.50. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Budget. The Munster Lions Club request letter.
You have a letter in your packet, and I think Don is here, as president of Munster Lions, if you'd want to let him speak, but,
I really don't care
the
to.
request is
I mean,
to
I see him every morning. He's 3 doors down, so.
As much as I try
Oh, this is gonna be a long, look, we're trying to make short meetings here. So,
Well, 4 score.
welcome,
7 years.
welcome, Don. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and good evening. So Munster Lions, probably, I would go out on a limb and say, one of the most loyal, long-lasting service groups in Munster. And we've come to a time where we're looking for a home. All right, something the Lions can call home. We've moved about pretty well. We went to Centennial Park when asked, when it was built, it was new, and we wanted to bring people there, and we went there. Now, with it gone, we want to come back. We're in Centennial Park, Community Park now. We're at the social center. And we're looking to do a capital improvement, invest in the building, be a part of that building. And also to get notoriety for the Munster Lions. So people can sit there when they come to the events, the pancake breakfast, hopefully steak fries as well, and say, this is Munster Lions. This is what we do. You know, so we're graciously asking for permission to change the name from the social center to the Munster Lions Social Center. And then let's build from there. We've got a lot of ideas we'd like to propose along the way. But as Lions, we have the funding, we have the ability to make a capital improvement and improve that building even more. So.
History.
Cool.
History.
Anybody else have comments for questions for the president? I have to refer to you as president now. Well, this is gonna be awkward.
You have to be nice to me now.
Well, I'm the president, so let's see how this is gonna work out. Any other
My pay
questions?
is
See,
less.
you just would like it. I mean, you guys have been very generous with your donations. I know I've seen a lot of checks being passed around here, so we appreciate it. And I know you guys are a staple to the community, so.
We average annually about $22,000 a year. And we're looking forward to do a capital, project in the parks, you know, in excess of $25,000, even more. So that is our plan. And then get everybody to support the pancake breakfast and the snake breakfast.
And you can maybe even volunteer with the teenager bingos. I hear those are sort of fun around the holidays that people fight, so maybe not as many police calls at the pool, but close.
Okay.
All right,
It's a rough crowd.
it is a rough crowd. Anybody would like to make that motion to,
I think the best way,
Oh.
like Dan, just,
you're the boss.
I think we should do a resolution, to be honest. I mean, if you have the indication, why don't we do it and define it as, right? I mean, to have an official document that names it that way, would you?
Would we do it or the town council do it?
No, I think it's in the park.
It's in park board,
Yeah,
it's a park operative.
Just asking.
I mean,
This is why I don't ask questions anymore, Dave. It's done, it's tough. We'll do a resolution, but we all seem to be very supportive of it,
Yes.
Great. Glad to hear.
despite the fact that you're
My neighbor.
representing. Yeah, I understand.
He'll be president again, that's how it happens.
Oh,
This is my second go around, so.
everyone else didn't volunteer, huh?
but I think hearing, I mean, I'm kind of here, I don't think anyone.
No, I'm for it.
Opposed to it,
I'm
so
for it.
I'll work on trying to.
I'll actually
prepare
sponsor
A
it.
resolution and bring it to the next meeting.
Yeah, so it's-
No, we're good.
No concerns.
Thank you for making it to the
All right.
meeting. Hopefully, good luck getting home.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Traffic's bad there. Cobblestone Park quote.
So this is, we mentioned over the last few meetings and through the master planning process, the idea of, removing the tennis courts out of Cobblestone's Park. And, so I just wanted to reach out and get share a quote that we got, from a local landscaping company to remove it. And, my understanding was just to replace that with a green space, but, if that's misunderstood, by all means, we can maybe kick this into that study session I was talking about, and we can talk about it.
I think that'd be a great
I think
idea.
we'll just table that
And
because
just see at that point.
I didn't bring my master plan, but I know that there was some suggestion of not to remove something without adding something about it. And that would be an amenity that you're taking away from the park and not adding anything back.
We'll just put it as part of our work study session.
Yeah.
Sure, sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Wow. We're not on record time, but I'm looking at all these things I want to leave early, but I really don't want to move. Almost record time.
I will motion to adjourn.
Are you sure?
That's your.
It's a motion to adjourn. We got a second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, everyone come up here, take pictures, and so you get on your